Sir, very happy morning to all. My dear lovable students, from this slot onwards, we are going to enter into the CA final exclusive topics. If you see CA final IDT, we are having three topics to discuss. These are the three classification topics. Number one, section 7 to section 53. This is CA inter topics. Even though section 7 to section 53 are CA inter, 50 marks of CA final comes from this area only, 7 to 53. Then section 54 to section 140. This is what CA final topics, my dear lovable students. And we are having customs also. This customs will come for 20 mark in exam. This is the subject classification. This is how IDT final subject is there. Basically, it can be classified into three parts: part A, part N, and part M. Part A is the basics from supply till 53 transfer of ITs. Part N is exclusive CA final topics. So this will be coming for 30 mark in examination, because if 50 mark has been taken care by 7 to 53, balance 30 mark will come from section 54 to section 140. And 20 mark fixed mark for customs. So 30 plus 20, 50, 50 plus 50, 100. This is our mark classifications all about. Super. From today onwards, I am going to start not with the refund portion, but with the assessment portion. Sir, this is what the types of assessment in the GST. In GST, there are 6 types of assessment. Self-assessment under section 59. Self-assessment under section 59. Provisional assessment under section 60. Provisional assessment under section 60. So what is the first assessment? Self-assessment under section 59. Provisional assessment under section 60. Scrutiny of returns under section 61. Scrutiny of returns under section 61. Assessment of non-filers of return under section 62. Assessment of non-filers of return under section 62. Assessment of unregistered persons under section 63. Assessment of unregistered person under section 63. Summary assessment under section 64. These are the 6 types of assessment in IDT. So my dear lovable students, first repeat along with me. What are the 6 types of assessment? Self-assessment under section 59. Provisional assessment under section 60. Scrutiny of returns under section 61, assessment of non-filers of return under section 62, assessment of unregistered person under section 63, summary assessment under section 64. First understand what is this assessment is all about. My dear lovable students, as we all discussed that section 7 is the supply. There will be activities or transaction. Those activities or transaction may become supply if it falls under 7 subsection 1. Once it becomes supply, automatically you have to check that whether that supply is exempted supply or taxable supply. If it has not covered under section 11, or if it has not covered under section 6 of the CGST or IGST Act, it will be called as taxable supply. Once it becomes taxable supply, you have to answer that who is the person liable for paying tax, whether it is FCMA, RCMA, ECMA. Then my dear lovable students, what is the time of supply? What is the place of supply? What is the value of supply? All these questions you are supposed to answer. After answering all the question, you will be raising the tax invoice under section 51. For example, if I am supplying service, goods or services or both, I am supposed to raise the tax invoice. In that tax invoice, I will declare that this is my value of supply. In that tax invoice, I will say that this is the rate of tax. In the tax invoice, I will say that this is taxable supply, exempt supply, bill of supply. Sir, like that everything I am declaring. Whether the value which I am declaring is correct or not. Whether the tax rate adopted by myself is correct or not. This is what assessment is all about. So, assessment is GST, mainly focusing on self-assessment by the taxpayer themselves before filing the monthly return, before filing the quarterly return. Sir, if you are a QRMP scheme person, you itself will say that this is my value of supply. You itself will say that this is my rate of tax. Am I right, sir? So, my dear lovable students, that is what called as assessment. In GST, assessment means self-assessment. You are assessing yourself. Every taxpayer is required to self-assess the taxes payable and furnish a return for each what period? Tax period. That tax period may be monthly, that tax period may be quarterly. If you are a registered person, either under section 22 or under section 24, then you are having the national responsibility to self-assess the tax payable. That is a period for which the return is required to be filed. That means before you file the return, under section 39, that is what the 39 is, the filing of the return under GST. My dear lovable students, you are supposed to do the what assessment? Self-assessment. A supplier will come to know the extent of his tax liability, which has to be discharged on a continuous and regular basis. Only after what, man? Assessment. That means before I file the return for a particular tax period, I am supposed to do an assessment called as self-assessment. In GST, 90% of the assessment is self-assessment. But there is one problem. If only self-assessment is there, so many suppliers will cheat the government. Am I right? So once the return has been filed under section 39, department will check whether that return is correct or not. Checking of the return filed by the taxpayer by the department is called as department's assessment. So my dear lovable students, in effect, there are 6 types of assessments are there. Number 1, self-assessment under section 59. Everyone repeat along with me. Self-assessment under section 59, provisional assessment under section 60, scrutiny of returns under section 61, assessment of non-filers of return under section 62, assessment of unregistered person under section 63, summary assessment under section 64. So as we understood, 2 people will do the assessment. Number 1, assessment will be done by the assessee and assessment will be done by the department. The assessee's assessment is called as self-assessment. My dear lovable students, if I am an assessee, assessee means taxpayer, there are only 2 circumstances are there. As a taxpayer, I know everything with regard to supply. For example, I know value of supply, I know place of supply, I know rate of tax, I know whether it is taxable or exempted, I know whether it is FCM or RCM. That means I don't have any confusion with regard to the supply which I am making. Then, as a taxpayer, I am supposed to do self-assessment under section 59. Self-assessment under section 59. Sir, I am having doubt regarding the value of supply. Sir, I am having doubt regarding the rate of tax. I don't know what is the value of supply. I don't know what is the rate of tax. Then I will go to the department and I will ask to the department that, sir, I don't know what is the value of supply for this particular supply which I am making. Sir, I don't know what is the rate at which I am liable to pay the tax. I am having confusion. Whether for this supply, the rate applicable is 18% or 28%. Like this, I am asking to the department. Then department will answer me, sir, pay tax at 18%, pay tax at 28%. That is called as provisional assessment, section 60. That means even that is also a what assessment? Self-assessment. But after getting the help of the department, you are doing the assessment. That's it. That means if you know everything, my dear lovable students, you are supposed to do self-assessment under section 59. If you don't know 2 things, number 1, value of supply and rate of tax, you are supposed to do provisional assessment under section 60. A taxpayer will either do 59 or do 60. A taxpayer will not do both. He can't do both. Either you should know everything or you should not know something. If you don't know something, travel through section 60 route. If you know everything, travel through section 59 route. Perfect. Okay, man. Either the assessee has traveled through section 59 or the assessee has traveled through section 60. Super fantastic. Now, what department has to do? What department has to do? You will be filing the return. You will be filing the... Sir, department will check whether the return filed by you is correct or not. This is called as scrutiny of return. This is called as scrutiny of returns. My dear lovable students, this is called as scrutiny of returns. that is department, from their side, they will check whether the particulars furnished in the return are correct or not. There are certain people will be there. Their aggregate turnover will exceed 10 lakh. Their aggregate turnover will exceed 20 lakh. Their aggregate turnover will exceed 40 lakh. Then as per section 22, person liable for registration. They are liable to take registration. They will take registration also. Now they are a what person? Registered person. Once they are a registered person as per section 39, they are liable to file the returns, but they will not file the returns. They will not file the returns. For such people, section 61 is not possible, because if they file the return only, I can scrutinize the return. Am I right? But department, sir, is helpless. Then they will do best judgment assessment. They will do what? Best judgment assessment. In the sense means, department, they themselves will pass an order stating that last month you have filed the return, but current month you have not filed the return. If you see the last 5 months as a taxpayer, you are declaring a taxable value of 20 lakh. So if you have filed the return for the current month, then also your value would have been 20 lakh. For that 20 lakh, this much tax is coming. Please pay the tax within this much time. This is your assessment order. That means if you have filed the return, we would have scrutinized the return. But my dear lovable students, after taking the registration, you have not filed the return. Then on you, section 61 is not possible. Adikunu we can't, sir, not doing the assessment. We will do the assessment under section 62. That is assessment of non-filers of it. There are certain super gentlemen will be there in India. Why this problem is coming? Because I have taken registration. Certain people will not take the registration at all, even if their aggregate turnover exceed 10 lakh, exceed 20 lakh, exceed 40 lakh, as the case may be. Then department can't do assessment even under section 62. Department will do assessment under 63. That is assessment of unregistered person. Sir, you are liable to take registration, but you have not even taken registration. Sir, 62 people are better than 63 people. Because 62 people at least taken registration but not filed the return. But 63 people, sir, not even taken registration. Actually, they are liable to take the registration. Or 63, my dear lovable students, registration has been taken, but their registration has been cancelled. Registration has been taken, but their registration has been cancelled. So there are two sections which are talking about section 62 and 63. Both are BJA assessment, best judgment assessment. Best judgment assessment. So section 62, assessment of non-filers of return. Section 63, assessment of unregistered person. My dear lovable students, sir, there is one scheme called as section 64, summary assessment. Summary assessment. For example, a truck or lorry or tempo is going in road. As per section 68, I will teach you, don't worry at all. Proper officer is having the power to intercept that vehicle. They will show by hand. Nirtupa. What are the goods you are transporting from one place to another? Where is the e-way bill? Where is the tax invoice? Where is the delivery challan? What are the documents you are carrying? In that, your turnover exceeds 500 crores. Where is the dynamic QR code? Your turnover exceeds 5 crore. Where is the e-invoice? Like that, questions will be asked. The transporter, the lorry driver will answer that, sorry sir, I am having only goods. I don't have all such things. That means without collecting tax, they are transporting goods from one place to another. If the proper officer who are intercepting the vehicle is saying that, okay, go in the month, current month when you are filing the return, please include this invoice, then already automatically that supply will come in the return. Then that return we will scrutinize under section 61. Once they escape, will anyone show that in the return? So immediately in the road itself, the proper officer have to pass an order. That is called a summary assessment order. Summary assessment, it's just like summary. This much value has been evaded with this much number. In road itself, they will pass the order. That is called a summary assessment. This summary assessment is not required in direct tax, but summary assessment is required in the indirect tax. So we can say or consolidate that there are two assessments will be done by the taxpayer. Self-assessment under section 59, provisional assessment under section 60. There are 4 assessments will be done by the department. For the right person, scrutiny of return under section 61. If you are a non-cooperating assessee, in the sense means if you are a non-filer of return under section 62 and assessment of unregistered person under section 63. In urgent cases, summary assessment will be passed under section 64. Am I right, sir? That means now you read, you'll be able to appreciate or understand there are how many types of assessment? 6 types of assessment. In these 6 types, these 2 assessments will be done by assessee and this 4 assessment will be done by. Number 1, self-assessment under section 59, provisional assessment under section 60. Then scrutiny of returns under section 61, assessment of non-filers of return under section 62, assessment of unregistered person under section 63. Are you comfortable? And summary assessment under section 64. Super, sir. My dear lovable students, I am coming to the reading man, section 59, self-assessment. Now you itself tell me, who is supposed to do self-assessment? Assessee is supposed to do self-assessment. Every person registered under this act. Have you registered under this act? My dear lovable students, you can take the registration either under section 22. 22. That means person liable for registration. If your aggregate turnover exceed 10 lakh, exceed 20 lakh, exceed 40 lakh, you are liable to take the registration. Sir, section 24, compulsory registration. Even though your aggregate turnover does not exceed the threshold limit, still you are liable for registration. That's what section 24. Sir, section 25 subsection 3, that is voluntary registration. Voluntary registration. Under G, S, T, these are the only 3 routes to enter into the GST. If you want to be a registered person, either you can register under section 22 or under section 24 or under section 25 subsection 3. That's what they are asking. Every person registered under this act. Have you taken registration? Yes, sir. Then shall self-assess. It is shall. Shall means must. In English, shall means it's not may, it's shall. Shall means must. Mandatorily, you are supposed to do what? Self-assessment. Sir, by doing self-assessment, what you are going to achieve? The tax payable by him for a particular tax period. That tax period may be monthly. That tax period may be quarterly, based upon whether you are traveling through the QRMP scheme or not. And after such assessment, you are supposed to file the return for each tax period as required under section 39. Please follow section 39. This is called as what assessment? Self-assessment. In the sense means every person registered under this act. Please be with me. Every person dash under that. Registered under that. Shall self-assess the tax payable by him. You yourself have to do the self-assessment. For a particular what period? Tax period. And once you complete that self-assessment, you have to file the return for each tax period as required under section 39. This is called as what? Self-assessment. An assessee will do self-assessment. That to an assessee who know everything will do what assessment? Self-assessment. Are you all really with me? Sir, I don't know either value of supply or rate of tax. I can't do self-assessment. Then there is a mechanism or option available in the act that is called as provisional assessment. That's what section 60, provisional assessment. Section 60, provisional assessment. Sir, section 60, 6 minus 0. Calculator. What is 6 minus 0? It's a 6-step approach, my dear lovable students. Oh, because in exam, they will be asking write a short note about what assessment? Provisional assessment. Then you have to just recall the 6 things. Automatically the things will be, sir, given to you. My dear lovable students, section 61. Then tell me, what is 6 minus 1? That means it's a 5-step approach. Super fantastic, sir. Sir, that means section 62, that is 6 minus 2. That means it's a 4-step approach. Sir, next one, 63. Then what? 6 minus 3. It's a 3-step approach. Then, my dear lovable students, 64. That is 6 minus 4. 2. That means it's a 2-step approach. Are you all really with me? That's it, man. That means we are going to learn the assessment based upon the number itself. Section 60 is provisional assessment. In every assessment, first step will be applicability. That means you should know when this assessment will be applicable. That's what always the first step will be applicability. Number 2, execution of bond. Number 2, execution of. Number 3, final assessment within 6 மாசம். எத்தனை மாசம்? 6 மாசம். Final assessment within 6 மாசம். Interest payable at 18% and interest receivable at 6%. Super. Interest payable at 18% and interest receivable at 6% and release of security. I will tell you what is happening here, my dear lovable students. This is what assessment? Provisional assessment under section 60. It's a how many step approach? 6-step approach. In the sense means, I am a taxpayer, my dear lovable students. Being a taxpayer, I don't know either value of supply or rate of tax. If I don't know these two things, then only I will step into this provisional assessment. What I will do? I will go and ask with the proper officer. I will go and ask with the proper officer, dear proper officer, I have supplied some goods or services or both. But I don't know the what of supply, value of supply. I am having confusion with regard to section 15 because section 15 is the value of supply. Section 15 is saying that this is the value of supply. But I am having certain confusion. I am not able to finalize what is the value of supply. Or rate of tax. I am having confusion whether this is nil rated, whether this is 18%, 28%, 5%. Now I will go and ask to the what officer. Then proper officer, immediately PO will say that this will be the value of supply. And this will be the what of tax, rate of tax. Immediately the proper officer will say. Why proper officer is saying immediately? Because my time limit to file the return is running. Because the current month return should be filed within next month 20th or I'll be having due date. So what PO will say that a taxpayer, by taking this as your value of supply, this as your rate of tax, first you file the return. First you file the return. Hello? He has not studied the case. He has not undergone the case fully because for that and all time is not there, pa. Not only one person will ask regarding the provisional assessment. So many taxpayers will be coming and stand in queue. Sir, I am having doubt regarding the value of supply. I am having doubt regarding the rate of tax. So if the, sir, proper officer start doing research and development, that much time is not there. Then proper officer will first allow the taxpayer to provisionally assess. What, man? Provisionally assess. First you file the return with this value of supply. First you pay the tax along with this rate of tax. Okay, sir, fine, sir. That's what, sir, applicability. That means if you are a taxpayer, if you don't know the value of supply, if you don't know the rate of tax, you can go and ask with the proper officer. Now proper officer is allowing you to travel through the provisional assessment. Hello, sir. Once he allowed to travel through the what assessment, finally he is supposed to pass a final assessment order. Finally he is supposed to pass final assessment order. Sometimes today value of supply he may set that 1 lakh. But within 6 மாசம், எத்தனை மாசம், he is supposed to pass the final assessment order. At that time, the proper officer will say that 1,20,000. Am I right? Then extra 20,000. For that extra 20,000, you are liable to pay what? Tax, GST. Hello, sir. At that time, you may argue to the proper officer that Niyala or proper officer, I came and asked to you only whenever I am having doubt. At that time, you said that 1 lakh. But now you are saying 1,20,000. There is an extra of 20,000. For this extra 20,000, I am liable to pay tax. Na katta maate. Because why should I pay? Because I asked you only. Your name is proper officer. Are you all really with me? Like this, a taxpayer will argue because he is also a human being. No. That is the reason why, sir, at the time of allowing the provisional assessment by the proper officer, execution of bond. Now itself execute the bond. In the sense means, within 6 masam, I will pass the final assessment order. At that, this will be your tax liability as per the provisional assessment. But the tax liability as per the final assessment may be higher than the tax liability as per the provisional assessment, then my dear lovable students, at that time don't come and cry to me, I will not pay sir and all. That's why step number 2, execution of bond. So what is step number 1? Applicability. What is step number 2? Execution of bond. This both should be happen in the initial time. If I am allowing you to travel through the provisional assessment route, I will allow only if you are ready to what the bond, execute the bond. Then within a maso, I will pass the final assessment order. That means there are only 2 possibilities are there. Either, my dear lovable students, my provisional assessment may be how much lakh? 1 lakh. And final assessment is 1,20,000. Am I right? Or my provisional assessment is what? 1 lakh. And my final assessment may be 80,000. Don't think that always the final assessment will be favorable to department. And always the final assessment will be against the taxpayer. Nothing like that. They will genuinely pass the final assessment order. In the sense means, my dear lovable students, if the final assessment order is higher than the provisional assessment order, then I am liable to pay extra 20,000 into tax rate, surely, because this is the value of supply. Or I am liable to pay tax on extra 20,000. Then what department is saying? No. The tax on this 20,000, you take this as tax itself. Okay, sir, this 20,000 you should have paid when you are filing the original return. After that, I took 6 months. Who took? Proper officer. Why I took 6 months? Because you are having doubt. I don't have any doubt. That's the reason why I said how much lakh? 1 lakh. But today I'm confirming that, reconfirming that it is not 1 lakh, it is 1,20,000. Then you have to pay the extra 20,000 along with the interest at the rate of 18%. Because being a what payer, taxpayer, you are paying interest to the department at the rate of 18%. My dear lovable students, this is what the scenario is all about. The tax payable as per the provisional assessment is 1 lakh. But finally, he will be finalizing the what assessment? Final assessment within a mason. He confirmed that it is what? 80,000. That means, sir, 20,000 extra I paid to the department. That means from the department, I am supposed to get this 20,000 as refund. Then they will pass the final assessment order. Who will pass? Proper department will pass. Then based upon this final assessment order, I have to file a refund application as per section 54. Section 54 is a refund. I have to go and beg to the department that, Ayachami, I am entitled to get the refund. Please process this refund. When they process the refund under section 54, since our extra money is there with the department, they will give us interest at the rate of 6%. Very good. If we are liable to pay interest to the department, we are liable to pay at the rate of 18%. But if the department is paying us interest to us, they will pay only at 6%. Am I right, sir? Once the final assessment order has been passed, either we are liable to pay the what? Tax along with the interest at the rate of 18%. If that is the case, once you shown the challan, sir, proper officer, that 20,000 rupees along with the interest at the rate of 18% has been paid from my pocket. Then step number 2, what of bond? Is not required, releasing of the security. Because you are good boy, then we are also good boy. My dear lovable students, no need to execute the bond. Are you all really with me? That means whatever security was given at the time of initiation of the provisional assessment will be released once you have paid everything. No. After the final assessment order, you are not paying the differential amount. That means they will execute the bond and they will recover the money to the department. That means section 60 is a how many step approach? 6-step approach. Step number 1, applicability. First of all, every assessment you should understand that for whom that particular assessment will be applicable. Number 2, execution of bond. Number 3, final assessment within a mason. Once the final assessment comes out, what will be the consequences? Interest payable at the rate of and interest receivable at the rate of 6%. Once the assessment is over, is everything pakka, certain conditions has been satisfied, you can ask for release of what? Securities. Now you tell me, what is section 59? Self-assessment. What is section 60? Provisional assessment. Section 60 is how many step approach? 6-step approach. Step number 1, applicability. What is step number 2? Execution of bond. What is step number 3? Final assessment within RMSM. What is step number 4? Interest payable at the rate of 18% or interest receivable at the rate of 6%. What is step number 6? Release of security properly. For every step we will be having detailed explanation. Man, sir, nothing to worry with regard to that. Are you all really with me? Yes, sir. These are the 2 assessments which will be done by the assessee. Sir, either by doing self-assessment or by doing provisional assessment, you will file the return. You will file the return, pa. File the return. You are filing return to the department. Are you able to see the return? Yes, sir. How many finger? It's a 5-step approach. Because that return will be scrutinized by the department under section 61. 6 minus 1, 5. Sir, what is the applicability of this section? The applicability is very simple. You should be a registered person. Being a registered person, you should file the return. Then that return will be taken for scrutiny by the department. Department will send you a love letter saying that it is very happy to inform you that your return has been taken for scrutiny under section 61. Then they will go through the details what you have furnished in the return. My dear lovable students, department may be satisfied, department may not be satisfied. 99% department will not be satisfied. Then department will issue a love letter to you. That's what department will ask for explanation. We are having certain doubt regarding this value of supply. We are certain doubt regarding this area, that area. Like that, they will be issuing of the what? Notice. Then as a taxpayer, we are supposed to what to the notice? Reply to the notice. Sir, this is what the reason for the discrepancy is this, sir. It is not a discrepancy, sir. This is what the genuine case. Like that, you have to explain. Then, my dear lovable students, PO may feel the explanation what you are giving as acceptable. Explanation found acceptable. Or he will say that explanation not found acceptable. If explanation found acceptable, then no further action. That's it. Assessment has been closed. Then PO will pass an assessment order under section 61 stating that Mr. ANM is a registered person. He has filed his return. His return has been taken for scrutiny under section 61. We find out certain discrepancy. Those discrepancy has been cross-checked with the taxpayer by issuing notice under section 61, and they have replied to the notice. We are very well satisfied regarding the explanation found. Then, my dear lovable students, case has been closed. If the PO is not satisfactory, that means you should know how to satisfy the PO. If the PO is not satisfactory, further actions will come. That's what the next chapter, audit under section 65. Audit under section, that proper officer will pass another order under section 65 stating that bring your books of accounts. We just want to do the audit. Because you are a registered person, you filed the return. My dear lovable students, there were discrepancy. We have issued notice. You give an explanation. Explanation was not satisfactory. Are you all really with me? That means it will lead to audit. Under section what? 65. Please bring your books of accounts. This audit, we will do. Who will do? Tax authorities will do. Commissioner will do. Not your accountant, not your internal auditor, not the chartered accountant, not the cost accountant. We will do. Department will do the audit. Certain, sir, cases. Even like idu pattadu vera vettakaranna venu. They will issue for special audit under section 66. There are 2 types of audit are there. Audit by tax authority under section 65, special audit under section 66. Audit by tax authority under section 65, special audit under section 66. Do you think that once they have issued for audit, every people will, indanga sir books of accounts, please do audit of my books of accounts. Anyway, I don't have an auditor. At least you department do the audit. Like that will anyone say? Never, not possible. Everyone will not be cooperating. They will feel that that's it. Because our return has been taken for scrutiny. And the PO is asking all the genuine relevant question. And there is no explanation at all. If we give explanation, only explanation found acceptable. Am I right? That means When the PO called, I am not going to the PO's office to see the PO. Then PO is saying that, don't worry, Kanna. I can understand. You are a businessman. You will be busy. We will come to your place by way of inspection, search and seizure. Inspection. Wherever, sir. We just want to do audit of your books of accounts under section 65 or 66. Sorry, sir. My books of accounts, I don't know where I kept my books of accounts. When I give my module, you are saying no. Sir, I don't know where my books of accounts. My module has been lost. My IDT module, I don't know where I kept. Hala, bathroom, kitchen, you are searching. The same way, proper officer is saying that you don't worry, man. We will come and inspect. We will search and we will find out also. Once we find out, we will cease and go. அதுக்கப்புறம் தான் தளபதி கச்சேரி தளபதி கச்சேரி. The proceedings will be under section 73, 74, 74A. Three sections will be happening, man. One is 73, 74 and 74A. Are you all ready with me? That means this is what section 61 what of return. Scrutiny of return. 6 minus 1. How many step approach? Step number 1, applicability. Step number 2, issue of notice. Step number 3, reply to the notice. Step number 4, explanation found acceptable. Step number 5, explanation not found acceptable. If explanation not found acceptable, sir, 4 further action. Audit under section 65, special audit under section 66, inspection, search and seizure under section 67, proceedings under section 60, 73, 74, 74A. Are you all really with me, sir? Sir, all these issues are coming because I have taken the registration. Or after I taken the registration, I have filed the return. Idana prachana. Let me do one thing, my dear lovable students. After taking registration, I am not at all filing the what? Return. I want to follow or I want to study the GST only till the registration chapter. I am going to take an option for the return filing. 4 mark da varum mama. So I am going to leave it. So my dear lovable students, assessment of what filers of return? Non-filers of return under section 62. That means this guy has taken registration, but this guy will not file the return. So section 61 is impossible. 61 is impossible in the sense means, sir, scrutiny of return is not possible. Or 63 is the most super people. Assessment of what registered person? Unregistered person. Even though my aggregate turnover exceed 10 lakh or 20 lakh or 40 lakh as the case maybe, I not even taken the what? Registration. I have not even studied the chapter what? Registration. So once I take the registered, because section 39 is saying that every registered person who are having outward supply, I am not at all a registered person, I am an unregistered person. So here the base document will not be there for the department, called as what? Return. My dear lovable students, in such a case, PO, he himself, based upon the information available, he will be doing an assessment. Such an assessment is called as best judgment assessment. What assessment? Best judgment assessment. There are 2 types of best judgment assessments are there. Section 62, section 63. Section 62 is the assessment of non-filers of return. 6 minus 2, it's a 4-step approach. Number 1, applicability. That means what should be the applicability? You are a registered person, but you have not furnished the return either under section 39 or under section 45. Then for you, my dear lovable students, the assessment will be done under section 62. For you, for example, if you are coming and sitting and in the class and if you are sleeping, I will say that, Pa, please call that particular girl. She is sleeping. Because she came to class and sitting in class and sleeping. It's my basic responsibility to wake them. Am I right? The same way, department will issue a notice under section 46. In that notice, they will say that, Kanna, you have taken registration. There is a scheme called as filing return. You are supposed to file the return. Sir, you forgot to file the return. Please file the return within the stipulated time. What is there in the notice? What is there in the notice? Certain people will say that, oh my God, I forgot to file the return. Or I was little busy because there is a death, or I was not well, or my accountant gone with some other person, or accountant was on leave because of certain reason, I was not filed the return. Now, department has issued a notice under section 46 to file the return. In response to a notice issued under section 46, I will file the return. I will file the return. Then, once I file the return, department will drop 62 and they will step in under 61. Scrutiny of return is possible because from a non-cooperating assessee, you become a cooperating assessee. Are you all with me? Because furthermore, section 62 is not required. But even after receiving notice under section 46, I called that particular girl. Still she is sleeping. My dear lovable students. Then, proper officer, without return, according to the knowledge what he is having regarding that particular assessee, he will pass an order. That's what, sir, time limit for the assessment order. What is the maximum time limit for passing the what order? Assessment order. At that time. At what time? Issuing the notice under section 46. That proper officer, sorry, that the taxpayer has not responded. Timur. He thought that what the PO will do. Now PO has passed the assessment order. Now taxpayer is feeling that, really he is having some power, I think. Who is having? Proper officer. That's why he is passed the assessment order. And he is saying that this much amount of tax, you are liable to be paid within this time. What is stipulated in the notice? Total 25 lakh tax liability he passed. What the taxpayer is saying that, sir, my turnover itself is not 25 lakh. This is what I also asked. At that time, you could have filed the return. If you don't file the return, I will pass like this only. Then you do one thing. You are registered person. If file return, valid return furnish within 30 days of assessment order. Then also, if you are ready to file the return within 30 days of the assessment order, this assessment order, I am ready to tear like this, put it on dustbin. Because now from a waste paper, feel panada. From a dash assessee, non-cooperating assessee, now you become a cooperating assessee. Even now I am ready to drop the assessment under section 62 and ready to step in under section 61. Then I will be doing scrutiny of return. Are you already with me? But even after passing the assessment order within how many days? 30 days. If you are not filing the return, this assessment order will become final. You are liable to pay whatever while even the tax liability I have mentioned in the best judgment assessment order under section 62. Am I right? Now, critically, logically analyze. You are a what person? A registered person. Then, if you get an assessment order like this, you can respond to the either to this notice or to the assessment order. After receiving the notice within time specified in 46 notice, you can file a return. Or after receiving the assessment order within the time specified in that assessment order, you can file a return. But if you are a 63%, return filing option is not available. Why? Only a registered person can take. Only registered person can file. That means in 63 people, filing return option is not there. That means this point will be cancelled. So 63, what is 6 minus 3? That's why it is 3-step approach. Because logically, one step will be cancelled, man. Applicability. Applicability is very simple. Your aggregate turnover exceed 10 lakh, 20 lakh, 40 lakh as the case may be. But still you have not taken the registration. But you are supplying taxable goods or services or both without collecting tax. Since you are an unregistered person, you are not filing the return also. This information come to the knowledge of the proper officer. He will do assessment of yourself under section 63, assessment of unregistered person. And my dear lovable students, before he passes the assessment order, he will issue a notice. This notice is not 46 notice. 46 notice is to file the return. Sir, even after issuing a 46 notice, pavam, what this guy will do? Because this guy is a unregistered person. This is an information notice. It is to inform you, happily inform you that you have happily caught. Your aggregate turnover has been exceeded 10 lakh, 20 lakh or 40 lakh as the case may be. Still you are a what person? Unregistered person. Yepdi sir, I am the commissioner of the GST department. I came to your shop and purchased goods or service from you. Even that value itself more than 20 lakh. You have given a cigarette atta and you have said that this is the value of supply. So I saw before me itself you were supplying goods or services or both. Hello, sir. If I come as a PO, that is Siva. This is Mar Siva. I came in Marves. And I have find out whether you are supplying goods or services or both. So my dear lovable students, I will be issuing notice. This notice is not to file the return. This notice is to inform you that we are going to pass a best judgment assessment order. Hello, sir. And time limit for the what order? Assessment. Within this much time limit, we will be completing the assessment. Then only it will be a valid assessment. Even best judgment assessment, there should be some time limit. Here, we are not expecting you to furnish the return within this much particular time because you can't do it. Are you all really with me? That is why the next point, valid return furnished within 30 days point is not there. Are you all really with me? And next one, man, the last one which we are supposed to be discussed is section 64, summary assessment. Suda pass pandra assessment. Applicability. Sir, proper officer has evidence. I am the proper officer. I am having evidence about taxability of the assessee and reason to believe that delay in passing assessment order will adversely affect the interest of the revenue. For example, I am a PO. I am just showing hand to a particular vehicle which is going on road. I know that if I leave this vehicle, records irukadu. Entire thing will be, they will close that. There is no such lorry at all. So if I am passing an assessment order, I have to pass now. I can't expect that particular guy to include this bill in the invoice to scrutinize the return and all. And this guy has taken registration and this guy is filing return also. So I can't do under 62 also. Because my dear lovable students, assessment of non-filers of return. This guy is filing return. And this guy is supplying out of 100 bills, he is showing 70 bills. That is the only problem. For the remaining 30 bills which I caught, I want to do assessment under section 64. So my dear lovable students, I am having evidence. If I make delay, it will adversely affect the interest of the revenue. Then PO initiate what assessment? Summary assessment with the prior approval of the JC or AC, joint commissioner or the additional commissioner. I will get permission. Sir, one lorry is going, sir. I'm going to, sir, stop it. And whatever goods are there, I'm going to pass an assessment order. You can. If I'm having reason to believe, man, it is not reason to suspect. It is reason to believe. All these things I will be highlighting at the appropriate time. What I'm doing is I'm just giving you the introduction overview of this. Then you will understand that, okay, fine, what you are going to study. You know one thing, we have, sir, given or talked about 5 sections, 6 sections, section 59. Self-assessment, no steps and all. You do self-assessment by sitting in your place. Section 60, provisional assessment, which is 6 minus 0 is equal to, it's a how many step approach? Step number 1, applicability, execution of bond, final assessment within 6 masam, interest payable at the rate of 18%, interest receivable at the rate of 6%, and release of securities. Are you all really with me? Sir, section 61, scrutiny of returns, 6 minus 1 is equal to 5. It's a 5-step approach. Applicability, issue of notice, reply to the notice, explanation found acceptable, explanation not found acceptable. Are you all really with me? Section 62, assessment of non-filers of return, 6 minus 2 is equal to 4. Applicability, notice under section 46, time limit for assessment order, valid return furnished within 30 days of the assessment order, but that option will not be there in section 63, assessment of unregistered person, 6 minus 3 is equal to 3. Applicability, issue of notice, time limit for assessment order. Section 64, 6 minus 4 is equal to 2, 2-step approach. Section 64, what assessment? Summary assessment, applicability and withdrawal of the summary assessment order. After that particular PO passes and summary assessment order on road, being an honor, I am going and saying to assessment, sir, Kudigara driver, sir, I have passed the tax invoice. It was below his seat. That particular guy don't know whether, sir, invoice has been passed or not. Are you all really with me? Or rather, that driver would have used that tax invoice to put some mixture. I have passed, sir. You just check with the e-way bill, sir. Before started transporting, I have generated the e-way bill. But that guy has not properly communicated to you, sir. That guy has said that invoice, Abdina, like that, sir. Sir, this is invalid assessment order, sir. We are not cheating the department. For all the 30 supplies, we have raised the invoice. Then they will withdraw the what assessment order? Summary assessment order. Tear it, put it on dustbin. This is what we are going to talk about, my dear lovable students. Tell me, what is section 59? Self-assessment. What is section 60? Provisional assessment. What is section 61? Scrutiny of return. What is section 62? Assessment of non-filers of return. What is section 63? Assessment of unregistered person. What is section 64? Summary assessment. This will lead to section 65. That is audit by tax authorities. Section 66. Special audit. Section 67. Inspection, search and seizure. Section 68 is there interception of the vehicle, conveyance. Section 69 is arrest. Section 70 summons. Section 71, sir, access to proper officer. Like that it goes, which is second block. Are you all ready with me? I hope that you are getting the introduction, what we are going to talk. In the coming slot, one by one assessment we'll be finishing, my dear lovable students.